Check your kids before someone else does. Check your kids before someone else does. That's today's episode. What's up, everybody? Thank you all for tuning in. You're now tuning in my podcast. I'm SF Johnnie, Seriously Focused Johnnie. You were tuned in to Difficult People Chronicles. Today's episode, like I said, check your kids before someone else does. I'm seeing too many stories out here now, you know, and I didn't have enough time today to look up the article. I didn't, but I could remember bits and pieces of it. So next time I'll try to share it with you all. There was a situation, everybody practically probably heard about it, where a woman and her child was jumped by a group of kids, and the mother had sickle cell. Then there was another situation, I think it was in Chicago, where I think the lady worked in Chili's, if I'm correct, and a group of kids ran in and jumped her. And they pulled out her hair from the scalp. Like she had like three bald spots in her head. Then there was a situation where some time ago, three kids went to go rob somebody's house. And even though the man was like, I think he was basically pleading with them, I'm not too sure. I know there was some kind of going back and forth. And they proceeded to try to get inside the house. I'm not too sure if they got in the house, but I know they were shot and killed. All three of them. And then there was a situation where there was a woman who was talking to her niece. And her niece was like going off on her, yelling, like really yelling. And basically, she missed the deadline for admissions in college, for the admissions, something or another, enroll in a class, whatever have you. And then she got upset and hung up on the admissions counselor or whoever at the college. And I said to myself, back in the day, so I don't know if it goes on now. I really don't know if it goes on now because I try not to miss deadlines. Even even when I was in grad school, I try not to miss deadlines. Uh when you say, for instance, something is due the 15th and you show up the 16th knowing it was the 15th, you're not getting in. You're not going to get in that class. Like, forget it. You might as well just enroll another semester or something, or at a later date. Yeah, very rare they will let you in. You better have like a tragedy going on in your life or something where they let you slide. But yeah, but my thought was, when the girl said she hung up on the admissions counselor, whoever this woman was, I was just like, you the only one that got to go to school. Like, the person you hung up on is not missing a deadline. And I'm quite sure she don't need to enroll in that class or whatever the situation is. When you're ready to enroll in that class, you still gonna have to meet up with that same person you hung up on. And then if she decides to move like a turtle or don't want to accommodate you, you can't get mad at nobody but yourself. But these kids don't think about that. They are, some, spoiled, where the parents in the household allow them to get away with a lot. Back talk, being sarcastic, being rude. And when I was walking through my living room, what came to me was that for those parents that have disciplined their kids, congratulations. You know, and the reason why I say that is because you raised your kids the way they should be brought up, with discipline, not allowing them to be rude and disrespectful, especially to people trying to help them. They know to own up when they do wrong. And what came to me is that your kids, when they decide to go out there dating, or they find someone of interest, make sure you have that conversation for them to go to God and ask who that person is. Because what came to me is that you have kids out there that are rude and they are masked, where they spoiled, brought up with no type of discipline, and they get into these relationships with a child who someone's child who was brought up properly, disciplined, respectful, and they step in line to destroy their life because they feel like, oh, now that I'm in, now I can take the mask off. That's a situation similar to something that happened to me years ago. I was dating a guy, and I heard maybe one situation about him, but that was about it. Where they say he was spoiled, never said how spoiled he was or anything after that. Anyway, I caught him yelling at his mother, and he tried to cover it up. He didn't want me to see that. And a lot of people who were not looking out for my best interests felt like I should stay with him. But I was like, no. Because the first thing I thought about, and I'm going to be honest, the first thing I thought about is that if he's yelling at his mother that kind of way, he going to try to yell at me that kind of way. I'm not that type of person. Like, that's not going to happen. And it was one person in my friend group at the time who was just like, he ain't the one. Cause yeah, cause she didn't like him. She was like, nope, he ain't the one. And it was more so a situation where the woman said to me, like, she said, why are you trying to argue about something when everything is right in your face? And she said that because him and I at the time, we would be arguing about his attitude and how he treat his mother. And then after a while, I was just like, she's right. Let me back up. This situation is crazy because he's starting to stress me out. And my peace is everything. And when I tell you he was yelling at his mother, I'm going to just give you a glimpse of what it was. It was like he would yell at her and he would be in her face like she a dude, like he about to fight her or something. And her voice got small, like she was afraid of him. But then when he saw that I was standing there, he got quiet. He knew what he was doing. And I said, thank God. Had I not been there, I would not have known what type of person he was. I knew he was, somebody called him spoiled back in the day when we were little. But now we grown adults. That's crazy. And I say that to you all because that's the picture that came back to me when I was walking through my living room. And the message was basically, for y'all to tell your children to go to God in prayer and ask who this person is. Hmm. Because you got to train them early. Train them early when they're young. And I'm going to say this last thing. There was a situation also where I met a guy one time who said he doesn't discipline his kids. But him alone, he got attitude problems. Like, he talked to people like they are his child and not grown adults. His mother allowed that. And then he felt like, what did he say? Like, I was just an angry black woman. No, it's not. You're not going to talk to me like that. I don't care how you talk to your mother. You're not going to talk to me like that. And I say that because, you know, when someone steps in someone's life and they start mistreating their child, the child is not the only person that gets hurt. The parents, they get hurt. They don't want nobody hurting their child. They could feel that pain. So that's why I say train your children early. Who is that person in front of them? Because, like I said, the devil wears masks too. And you don't want nobody from Satan's camp in your family. Trust and believe. Not through marriage, not friendship, none of that. Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. And then there was another one that I liked. Oh, here we go. Proverbs 23:13. Do not withhold discipline from a child. Hmm. Do not withhold discipline from a child. If you strike him with a rod, he will not die. Let me tell y'all something. Protect your kids at all costs. Parents, for those that be spoiling their kids, and I'm hearing it more and more sometimes where you have some parents where their children are like 16, 17, 18, and they're saying, oh, he or she is just a child, but then that child is out of control where they're rude and disrespectful, cursing out mommy and daddy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or cursing out other people and thinking it's okay. Somebody will check your child if you don't. And for those out there, when you get into situation where you got these kids out here attacking people and they try to run up on you, trust and believe. You're going to have to fight for your life because you don't know what these kids is up to. You don't know who got switchblades, who got what. And it's like you don't want to be in a situation that if you don't fight back, that you end up in a casket or fighting for your life from a hospital bed. So that's food for thought. That's it for today. Check me out on YouTube, like, subscribe, click the notification for suggested topics. Email me. Love me more and I love you more. Later.